Hi, family. I hope you are well today. Welcome back. You are being welcomed by me, African Osorenko. I am a Black American, a freedman, a descendant of slave, okay? ADOS, however we want to say it, for us that were descendants of slaves that whose ancestors built this country, America, yet we never received our due just reparations. Excuse me, family. I'm just going to adjust the camera. So, family, I am coming to you today to discuss reparations for Black Americans and what this could possibly mean for us as well as our descendants down the lines. Okay. Um, we're going to discuss a few things first, family. And before I start anything, I am going to read the Copyright Right Act, okay? Because we know how you two get down. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, scholarships, and research. And we are doing a bit of history and um, collaborating some information together from different sources. Okay, so family, I'm going to get started that we have been in America over 400 years. And over 400 years, Black Americans, descendants of slaves, have suffered in this country, have not been allowed to acquire wealth. There is a huge wealth gap between Black Americans and everyone else in this country. White Americans, we know, is way up there. However, Asians may be above white Americans, okay? But when it comes to Indian, uh, Hispanic, everyone is above Black Americans. And that is for a number of reasons, family. We can, you know, um, report that to a number of things, okay? But majority, it is because of the racial wealth gap that exists within America. We were told so long ago to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps that we were not given, nor any boots that we were given either. Okay, so I'm gonna go into a few things, family, and just want to make a few points. Okay, all right. So, family, as I said, uh, you know, we have dealt with as Black Americans, and no others have compared to all of the uh, issues and things that we've suffered in America. There is no other race within America that has suffered as we have here in America. Okay, the racial wealth gap has remained uh, large, with Black families having at least only 24 cents to the dollar or to every US dollar compared to white families. The racial wealth gap with Black families have proven over the last, it's proven, okay, through different multiple studies, family, that over the last 50 years, this has not changed. So the wealth gap has been this way over 50 years. And I would say it would be more closer, longer to maybe 100 years or so. But over the last 50 years, now I'm going to tie that into this, family. Think about this. For over 60 years, we have been voting Democratic. We've been voting Democratic, yet studies have shown that over the last 50 years, and I dare to say it's been longer than that, probably at least 60, maybe 70 years, maybe even 80 years. But Studies have shown that the wealth gap and disparities have remained the same. Now imagine that, okay? We're voting for a political side that says they're going to make it better for us, however, they never do. But today, this is not about the Democrats nor the Republicans. This is about the racial wealth gap of Black Americans who are descendants of slaves. Okay, so the report goes on to further say, and family, this is a report by CNN. It's a African American reporter that did this, or Black American reporter that did this report, and it goes on to say that as far as there are inadequate gaps in health, nutrition, education, employment, and housing. So, family, not only do we have gaps, racial inequality gaps in in the financial means of us making money and identifying wealth, but we also have gaps in so many other areas in America. Okay, that is including with as far as education, that is including with housing, that is, there are no actually Black owned banks here in America. There was the Freedman Bank that your gracious lady that is running for president now, your Madam Vice President, helped to abolish. And now it is opened up as of 2023, I believe, but it could have been 2022. But within the last year or so, um, since Biden was in office, Kamala Harris went in and she opened up Freedmen's Bank. And if you don't know, look it up. Freedmen's Bank began, I believe, it was in the 1800s after slavery, or it might have been maybe early 1900s, but it was developed for descendants of slaves or for newly freed slaves and descendants of slaves. And many newly freed slaves, we know they worked as sharecroppers. We know they worked in white women's homes. We know they worked in people's kitchens and things just to make ends meet, to take care of their family. Black people, despite, as I said, not being given a proverbial boot and strap, they still managed to pull themselves up from nothing, from slavery, family. We put our ancestors pulled themselves up from nothing, having nothing in this country. Now, I know there are Black Americans that are indigenous to America. Yes, that they were Indian and different, uh, you know, uh, nationalities of Indian. We have Choctaw. We had the different tribes of the Native Americans that were here. We're all originally Black. Okay, but I'm saying for all indigenous and Black people that are descendants of slaves that were brought here against their will and built this country, have not received anything. So not only is there a huge racial disparity when it comes to wealth and medical care and health care and education and everything else, but also notice, family, that there are other communities here that own banks. Chinese own banks here, different groups of people own banks in America. But the only Black bank was opened now to everybody. And I did a story about this, a video about this, uh, maybe about a month or so ago, but if it was even that long. But all of the money that those newly freed slaves put in the bank, which would have been today worth over, I think it was over 40 or 300 million, family, all of their money was taken. They were loaning out these newly freed slaves who were making nothing but pennies on the dollar. They were loaning out their money to white farmers, to white businessmen, Irish businessmen. They were doing this newly immigrants, that were coming in like Irishmen and things like that, maybe from the UK or whatever. They were loaning them their money, and these monies were never returned. Were it was just given away. Okay, so along with that, we own no banks in America. Okay, so that's another reason that there's no wealth in the Black community collectively. And we're not talking about when there is, we have a Beyonce and a Jay-Z, and that's grand, that's very wonderful. However, family, collectively, uh we should have been way over the wealth line or the poverty line, which we are not in America. I mean, we should have really already, you know, probably exceeded white people. But there has been so many things, family, that has, with the Black Wall Street, there were many Black Wall Streets, yet they were destroyed. We have to look at things like that. And what my question is, for all of these lawyers, Black lawyers running around here, like Ben Crump and many other of them that are on YouTube telling Black Americans to vote for the Democrats, yet the Democrats are doing nothing for them. My question is, why are they not filing a lawsuit against America for all of the things that Black Americans, descendants of slaves, have had to endure after slavery? Okay? After slavery. We don't even have to go way back to slavery, family, to talk about the unjust that has occurred to us. We can even right now talk about the last 50, 60, 70 years. We can talk about how after slavery ended, family, how miraculously all kinds of prisons began to open up, and Black people, Black bodies begin to fill these prisons. Yet they tell us we're only 13% of the population. Make it make sense, family. If we're 13% of the population, how is it that we exceed 70, 80% of the prison population? Well, I'll tell you how. Because they're unjustly putting Black people in jail left and right. We just had a brother, Mr. Marcellus Williams, who was just murdered, because he was murdered just a few days ago. Okay? No evidence proven that this man, the evidence is proven that this man did not commit this crime. Okay? And even the prosecuting attorney said that the man should not be executed. And yet America executed this man anyway. But let me continue, family. So, the attorney that was the lead attorney for O.J. Simpson, and we all remember what occurred with O.J. Simpson. He was accused of, it was alleged he had murdered his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ronald Goldman, who was a waiter of a restaurant, um, who was at her house, okay, at nighttime, a young man. But anyway, he um, he was filing in preparation before he died of filing a suit against the United States. So it goes on to say that uh, the year 2000, a powerful group of Black attorneys and class action lawyers that had already won billions of dollars in courts for their the people that they were serving, uh, prepared a lawsuit for reparations for American blacks, the descendants of slaves. Now, this was reported from the Washington Post. Okay, they informed the reparations assessment group, and among the members of the group were Harvard law professor Charles Ogletree, Cochran, and Alexander J. Pius Jr., who had won a $1 billion discrimination settlement for black farmers against the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's just really weird that this man sought to file this lawsuit against the United States for reparations on behalf of descendants of slaves, and yet pretty soon after he was dead. Okay, we know what happened and how that happened. Okay, um, but he had also won a $368.5 billion settlement for states against tobacco companies. Okay, there was an attorney, Dennis C. Sweet III, who won a $400 million settlement in the Fen-Phen diet drug case, and Willie E. Gary, who won a $500 million judgment against the Lowen Group Corporation, the world's largest funeral home. Randall Robinson, president of the Trans Africa Forum and the author of The Debt: What America Owes to Blacks, was also involved in the group. They discussed how QE, or quantitative easing, money printing, okay, that the government could print money, because they print money whenever they want to. Family, they print money to they print they printed billions, I'm sure, to give to Ukraine. They printed billions to give to Israel whenever they want to. They print billions to do whatever they want to, but they can never print the money that they should be giving to Black Americans who are descendants of slaves. Think about that, family. Okay, so it went on to say that, and they felt that, the next financial crisis in America, that it could really affect Black people's, and this is in 2000. Black people had side hustles going on and everything. They felt that it could really affect, those Black people's side hustles and their income that they were trying to make. Okay, they went on to say that they wanted a change in America, that they wanted full recognition and remedy of how slavery stigmatized, raped, murdered, and exploited millions of Africans, though no fault of their own. Okay? They went on to say that this country has never dealt with slavery. This was in 2000, family. We are now in 2024, going into 2025, okay? And still to this day, this country does not want to own up to the stigmatization, the oppression, and the complete and utter brutalness that slavery caused here in America, how it affected Black families for generations and generations and generations, for hundreds of years, and still to this day, a couple of hundred years down the road, we still have no justice. We still have not rightfully been, you know, compensated for what our ancestors went through. We still have not received anything from America in reference to what we experienced during slavery. Okay? As he went on to say, this country has never dealt with slavery. It is America's nightmare, something they want to sweep under the rug, which they are trying to do every day, as they, you know, refuse to allow the teaching of what happened in this country to be taught. A political solution would be the most sensible, but I don't have a lot of faith that that's going to happen. So we need to look aggressively at the legal alternative, Ogletree said. The 40 acres and a mule is still on the books, okay, at that time. That supplies legal basis to fight for reparations. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, family? I'm going to say this. It is high time we need to stop supporting this system. And that can be in any way you can think of, family. We need to really heavily think of growing our own foods. We need to stop supporting other communities' businesses altogether, family. That means stop going uh, to certain restaurants. Yeah, and people can say this is being divisive. I don't care because other communities do it and no one says anything. Just not too long ago, Richard Bloom, I think his name is, who's an attorney, took to court the Fearless Fund, and this was a fund and a group of women, and come to find out, family, it was not only this was the only fund that was specifically for Black American women, business women, and but they this was the only one they challenged. So any other one that included other races of people, they didn't challenge anything. Oh, it was the only woman. They didn't care about it was only being for women. But what it was about this one for the Fearless Fund is that it was only for Black American business women. Family, we are being attacked at every level, from every side, on every angle, on every platform, on every tier. It is time that we understand this completely. It is time we understand this. And voting just strictly for Democrats or Republicans who are not offering any kind of uh, tangible for us, then it is ridiculously, it's a shame. It is a shame. And it is also, family, very, you know, uh, it's not building our community. We are putting ourselves and our children, our grandchildren's children, our descendants and lineage down the line, family. We are putting them in a very bad situation. We are the laughing stock of the block when it comes to the political realm because we just go out there and vote because someone's whatever we think their race is. And it's honest. It's just to be honest. Many voted for Barack Obama, and yet he had no policies for Black Americans. He had DACA policies for other communities, LGBTQ. Many people are going out here, and I'm talking about Black Americans. I'm not concerned how other groups are voting. I'm not. But many Black Americans are out here, advocating and already voted or going to vote for Kamala Harris, who is doing nothing, has pledged to do nothing for us, just as Biden pledged to do nothing for us, just as Trump has pledged to do nothing for us, just as the running vice president candidates has pledged to do nothing for us. Now is not the time, family, that we can continue to sit idly by and vote for nothing. Only a fool does that. Fools vote for nothing. You have to be getting something out of your voting for your community. Otherwise, you're voting for other communities to have tangibles and not your own. Family, I hope that this message reaches you in good spirit. And I hope each and every one of you understand. We can no longer just stand for nothing, family. The time is now, or there will be no time. I thank you so much, family, for coming today, for joining. Please like and share, and please subscribe. Okay? And we'll keep coming back with commentary on different subjects for you. I want you to be blessed, family. I want you to have a blessed rest of your day. I hope you were able to get some exercise in. There wasn't much sun out for some areas, but I hope that you were able to get some fresh air and, just continue to be blessed, family. There are some very dark times coming, family. Some very dark times coming. And we really have to prepare. We have to get ready because a lot of things are not going to matter that matter today. They're not. All right, family, you be blessed. Thank you so much for joining and take care. See you next time. Bye bye.